It is a standard assumption in business. If every department hits its operational targets, the organization as a whole will succeed. But in practice, a collection of highly efficient, localized teams often creates a remarkably inefficient company. To understand why that happens, we have to look at the architecture of how we reward work. Specifically, we need to analyze system design failures and end-to-end KPI optimization. This outlines the formal definition of incentive misalignment. It occurs when rewards or metrics given to teams drive behaviors that conflict with overall system objectives. The core axiom here is straightforward. People do exactly what they are rewarded for, but the organization pays the price. Supply chains are deeply interdependent networks. A decision made at a loading dock impacts a retail shelf weeks later. When performance incentives are designed locally, but the actual business outcomes are judged globally, misalignment is almost guaranteed. Hitting a departmental target while degrading the network's overall flow is the illusion of local efficiency. We can observe this structural friction clearly by looking at one of the most common corporate conflicts: sales versus operations. A typical compensation structure motivates the sales team to maximize revenue or overall volume. Their bonus is tied directly to getting signatures on contracts. Simultaneously, the operations team is evaluated on their ability to minimize operating costs, reduce standing inventory, and optimize capacity usage. To hit that volume target, sales has a rational motivation to offer aggressive delivery timelines to close the deal. Those tight turnaround orders force operations into reactive scheduling, running inefficient batches, or paying premium freight. The predictable result is that service levels drop due to constant expediting, and total operational costs explode. Both departments acted rationally according to their specific metrics. Sales got their volume, operations tried to restrict capacity, yet the entire enterprise suffered a loss. This dynamic is equally destructive in sourcing and purchasing decisions. Looking at this course document on procurement, we see a direct conflict between a localized buyer incentive and the ultimate goal of the supply chain. If evaluated purely on lowest unit price, buyers naturally select cheap suppliers. However, those suppliers often require long lead times, necessitating massive buffer inventories, expedited shipping, and managing downstream quality issues. The math is rigid. Minimizing unit price is not equivalent to minimizing total cost. Invoice savings are entirely erased by the hidden costs of managing a brittle supply base. We see the exact same pattern when a plant manager is incentivized strictly on machine utilization. They run massive, uninterrupted batches of a single product to keep their efficiency numbers high, creating a warehouse full of excess inventory that the market isn't actually buying. Unit price, machine utilization, and sales volume are dangerous proxies for success when measured in isolation, ignoring the end-to-end flow of material and capital. These destructive feedback loops do not happen by accident. They are built into the architecture of the organization. This section details the primary structural flaws: KPIs designed strictly at the functional level, which actively rewards siloed optimization. Furthermore, companies rely heavily on lagging metrics like historical cost, rather than leading metrics like product flow. When these flaws are present, diagnostic symptoms appear. You will hear phrases like, "Every department hit their targets, but our margins are terrible," or see constant firefighting, despite dashboards showing excellent departmental performance numbers. If you have dedicated teams hitting their marks while the company loses money, you are not dealing with a personnel issue. You are dealing with a poorly engineered system. Resolving this requires discarding the localized metrics and restructuring how success is measured. As highlighted in the course notes, incentive misalignment is entirely a system design problem. The governing rule for a high-performing supply chain is that the entire network must be optimized first. Only then can you safely sub-optimize the individual parts. This is achieved by aligning compensation and departmental incentives directly to end-to-end outcomes. Instead of rewarding raw production volume, you measure on-time in full deliveries, tying manufacturing success to the actual customer experience. Instead of isolating procurement savings, you measure the cash-to-cash cycle or total supply chain cost, forcing a balance between cheap materials and rapid inventory turns. Moving an organization forward means abandoning local optimization logic and adopting global optimization logic. In practice, this means establishing shared KPIs across distinct functions. If sales and operations share the exact same penalty for excess inventory, the aggressive overpromising stops immediately. This convergence creates a unified strategy, one centralized demand plan, and one shared set of operational trade-offs, where all departments are accountable for the final decision. It also requires leadership to evaluate the quality of the decision-making process itself, checking if a choice balanced cost, service, and risk appropriately, rather than just rewarding a short-term financial win. We have established that localized metrics create friction, that unit optimization rarely equals total cost optimization, and that shared end-to-end accountability is the structural fix. To apply this to your own operation, review these reflection questions. Particularly the second point. If everyone in your organization maximized their personal bonus today, would your supply chain actually improve or would it degrade? If the answer is degradation, your metrics are working against your goals. Supply chain excellence is not achieved by having everyone work harder in their silos. It is a direct product of intentional end-to-end incentive architecture.